Hey, if you guys are in the live, just let me know. I see that there's people in here, so just let me know who you are so I can give you credit for being here. Especially, I have to go to the doctor's office because I'm pregnant like every 2 weeks. But funny story, hey Ponce, I missed my appointment. It was actually yesterday. So when I showed up there today, they were like, we don't have an appointment for you. So I have to go again tomorrow. Yep, 7 more weeks of being pregnant. Okay, so you had plenty of time to watch the 15th ward video. Most of you should have already seen it anyways, because I had it shown when we had a sub. The documents. What do you mean? The new format. You don't like it? We have at least. Oh, doctors. Yeah. Yeah, they couldn't fit me in. It's because of this COVID-19. Like they only have so many people they can see per day because only so many people can be in a waiting room at a time. So I missed my appointment, so my bad. So basically, I'm just in here to talk to you about the 15th ward video and to make sure that everyone has clarity on their CER paragraph. This week, I'll be doing my Gritty Guru again. So if you were in both lives, hey Mary Alice, and you have done the work for the week, I'll be announcing on Friday who that is and asking them what they would like from Grubhub. Or if they know someone locally that I can just have them deliver food to instead of going through Grubhub, I can just call and have that happen too. So any friends that you know were in the live last week, make sure you're texting them so that they have a chance. Maybe they forgot or something so that they can win. Because the more activity that you have, the higher your chances of winning the meal. Okay, so who is it then? Hi, miss, I'm not home. Who is that? Just tell me who you are. Okay, so far Mary Ellis, let me know she's in here. Ponce, let me know. There's at least one more person that. Oh, hey Rashem. There's at least one more person in here. Maybe D'Amico, maybe Elijah, maybe Majida. You guys gotta let me know who you are so I can give you credit for being in here. Give you those extra points. I don't know if you've been told yet, but for fourth marking period, there's gonna be. Hey Jaden. There's gonna be 3 different grades. So you either get an incomplete for a class, meaning you haven't done enough work, or you haven't been active at all in the class. So that basically kind of puts you in a summer school kind of position, which we don't know yet if it's going to be at home like this or if it'll be at schools. The governor will determine that at the end of this month. But if you get an incomplete, it pretty much says you're going to be doing summer school in some sort of way. Or you can get a pass, which means that you got a grade between a 65 and an 84. If you have a grade 85 to 100, then you will get a distinguished pass. So basically passing with honors. So everyone that's in here should be getting a distinguished pass from me. Should all have an 85 or above. My class really isn't that hard. I'm trying to make it easy on purpose because it's just crazy to be trying to do this distance, especially with all the writing. So how many of you were able to watch the video on the 15th ward? Sorry, someone's calling me. anyone watch the video on the 15th Ward, or anyone watch the short clip that I have the question posed for on American Experience, the Freedom Riders strategy? I'm going to put that link in here too, because we're answering the question that goes with this video. And then also we have the 5-7 video notes that I'm going over. And then also I'm going to be going over these 4 questions. Awesome, Mary Alice. So I guess that I can't do all these questions at once. The comment's too long. Okay, so how does this prove that Syracuse played a role in not helping to achieve equality for African Americans? What did the core committee on racial equality do in regard to the 15th Ward? How do you believe you have personally been affected by the loss of the 15th Ward and the gain of I-81? So I want to make sure we go over those questions. And then I also want to go back to that first question that I posted that has to do with the Freedom Riders and peaceful protest. Because that's what your CER, mini CER this week is on. The one from last week was on, or wait. Sorry, I'm getting confused with assignments. I'm going to blame it on my pregnancy. So mini CER quiz 5-8 is asking, what inequalities did African Americans face after World War II? So that's still your first CER. We haven't gotten to that second one yet. But you could talk about the protest in this one too. What inequalities, I kind of framed the CER last time in my live on Monday. Talked about how we could have a claim, just pretty much saying that inequalities existed for African Americans after World War II. That can be your claim. And then you have a piece of evidence from the article from last week or the article from this week, the video from the 15th Ward, or even the video that you watched, if you have watched it, that I just linked in here. So any of those things can help you with that. And I haven't gotten a lot of CERs. So again, if you need help with that, make sure you're texting me through Remind. Any questions about the CER, or can I move on from that? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to tell me if you need help with the CER, and then we're going to move on to the 15th Ward questions, and then that last question that goes with the civil rights movement and the Freedom Riders. So again, 30, like 20 seconds now. Tell me if you need help with the CER. I do want to save some time for people to talk about, if they want to, recent stuff that's going on in the news, not with COVID, but with inequalities, with the African American who was jogging and who was shot and has not received justice yet. I did want to touch upon that, talk about that with you, see if you wanted to discuss it. Since I am your social studies teacher, that's part of my job to make sure that we're linking in current events that are happening. Okay, so I gave the time. Obviously, we don't need help with the CER. So we're going to move on to those questions that go with the 15th Ward. So, hey Newsom, how does this prove that Syracuse played a role in not helping achieve equality for African Americans? So basically, the 15th Ward, what was it? So I'd like someone to answer. What was, the 15th Ward? So what's a ward? And why does it no longer exist? And what does that have to do with inequality? Remember, the more you participate, the more you have a chance of winning the Gritty Guru. So I need feedback from you in the live in order to put you up towards winning. Right now, I would have to say Jaden Schaefer is in the lead because he actually like gave me stuff in the last live, like gave me feedback, helped out, was a TA, and then he's done work this week in Canvas. So if you want to be competing with him, make sure you are sharing out some information right now about what the 15th ward is, what was it, why does it no longer exist, and what does that have to do with inequality? Nothing? Mary Ellis, Jaden, Rashem. I know, Rashem, you know what this is. Okay, an African American neighborhood. Thank you, Mary Ellis. So where was it primarily located, this neighborhood? Like what took over its place? What's a landmark that's in part of the 15th ward right now? What's something that you visit that's in the 15th ward today? Miss Newsom, you can help him out if you want. I just don't want to just type all the answers into these lives. Is anyone aware of, I mean, it is an African American neighborhood, so when we're looking at neighborhoods, where do most African Americans still live? Yes, University Hospital area. So where Syracuse University is, where like the hospital is that's downtown, that is 15th ward area. Harrison Street, Pioneer Homes, exactly. So that whole area is where the 15th ward was. So instead of having 81 cut through and having that huge, what's it called? I'm having like again, pregnancy brain. Hey, Elijah. Well, anyways, the bridge pretty much that's up above, I know that there's a different word for it and I'm blanking. That was not there, and instead a thriving African American neighborhood was. So we're talking about inequality. What does that have to do with inequality? Would that have happened in a thriving white neighborhood during this time period? Yes or no? Just type in, there's 7 people in here. Well, 6, because I think it counts me. So 6 people in here, tell me yes or no, would that have happened in a thriving white neighborhood during this time period? Or even today? Okay, I've got 1 no. I need more activity in here. So would the 81 construction have happened in a thriving white neighborhood? Are you guys just in here and have me on mute or something? It's just a yes or no. We have 1 no. So Elijah, what do you say? Jaden, what do you say? Rashem? Okay, thank you, Elijah. Got another no. Another no. So we have 3 no's, and I agree with the no answer. So how does this prove that Syracuse played a role in not helping African Americans? So this proves the 15th ward being lost or destroyed for the construction of I-81 proves inequality because this would not have happened in a thriving white community. Okay, so that is the answer for question 1. Took us a minute, but we got there. What did CORE, the Committee on Racial Inequality, do in regard to the 15th ward? So we're on to this next question. Answer the first one, we're on to the second one. So what did CORE, the Committee on Racial Inequality, do in regard to the 15th ward? They protested. Okay. There's no submit button. What do you mean for this assignment? I have to look into that because Jonas was saying that too. Is anyone else having trouble submitting this assignment? I don't know what I did to mess it up, but I'm not 100% awesome with tech. So I'll go in and look at that assignment after we get done with this live. Just make sure you're saving the answers from this live so that you can enter them after we're done. Okay, so I'll definitely look into that because like I said, Jonas told me yesterday he was having the same problem. But I feel like Majida, you did this. So maybe it's just like by class, something's messed up. Okay, so they protested. Did it really do anything? Were they able to really do much? Here's a good link as well to help you understand. No, the protesting really didn't do much. I mean, they tried to help, but they weren't able to really do much for African Americans in Syracuse during this time. How do you believe you've been personally affected by the loss of the 15th ward? Or do you not feel like you have been? So last question. How do you believe you have been personally affected by the loss of the 15th ward and the gain of I-81? I mean, maybe you feel like you've been positively affected by I-81, connecting you to, I don't know, faster transportation. 81, definitely during this time, roads were important. People were traveling a lot, A lot more people had vehicles. So all of this was a real push for interstates, so that people could travel. So they didn't really care about poor communities during this time. Instead, it's happened in cities all across the United States where they would just interrupt communities that were in poverty or that were not thriving white communities. A lot of African Americans are affected by the interstate under Eisenhower's presidency. They just were not paying attention. The government was not paying attention to what it was doing to African Americans, and instead just cared more about connecting roadways so that people could travel and people could camp and be tourists, and just it was all about tourism and not about people's basic human rights of being able to stay and live in a community that they've been living in and thriving in after having a little bit more equality after the Civil War and World War I. So the last one's pretty personal. I don't expect you to really give me an answer of how you do you believe you've been personally affected by the loss of the 15th Ward and the gain of I-81. If you live in Pioneer Homes, then you might feel more affected by this because you literally live right next to a highway that you have to hear all the time. You might feel like the pollution has affected you. So if you live in Pioneer Homes, you're more affected than people who do not live in Pioneer Homes. If you plan on going to like Syracuse University, you might say, I'm very affected by it because there's a university in my town now, because I don't think without 81 right there, it would have happened. I don't know. You might want to reflect that way, or you might want to say, you can get places faster, which is good, but I felt like they should have at least voted on it to see how the people felt about it. Well, they did vote, but they didn't inform African Americans or those communities about it. And when they protested, they just shut them down or threw them into jail for protesting. I mean, it was just a very unequal time in the whole United States during that time period. I mean, I can't even say that things like that don't happen today, because they still do. When people are protesting and other people don't want their voices to be heard because they don't want a change to happen, then a lot of horrible, unimaginable things happen still to today. I don't want to say things have really changed that much, but there was a vote, like I said, but it was hard to have African Americans vote on it. Their voting rights were restricted. They just made it extremely hard. Just like today with I-81, trying to figure out if we want to do the grid or if we want to do an aqueduct, something like expand and have I-81 be larger. They said that they're going to the communities and asking the people that would be affected most by it, but they're not really communicating with them. They'll leave like notes on their door or not really make it extremely easy for people to go and vote or cast their opinion on it. So just make sure you're reflecting on that question. Lastly, I want to talk about the Freedom Riders strategy. So use evidence from the video to answer the question. I thought this was a pretty easy thing. I just wanted to make sure that it went completely with your reading for the week. So you had a little extra information to go with that. So the Freedom Riders, what strategy did they use? I know Jaden answered this question for me already on Canvas. So if you want to go ahead and answer that again, it's just easy for you because you already answered it. So what did they do? What was their strategy? Or anyone? What was the Freedom Riders strategy? Come on, guys. Okay, I'm holding. Civil rights activism of the early 1960s, bus boycotts and lunch counter sit-ins relied on the strategy of nonviolence and passive resistance, in which protesters passively resist what they believe to be unjust policy, even when confronted with violence. Exactly. So the answer, in a nutshell, is passive resistance, peaceful, exactly, peaceful protest. I'm pretty sure it's from the same website. You guys have the same exact wording, so that's fine. As long as you're giving credit where credit is due when you find these answers online, that's fine. You could type it into Google. I mean, that's one of the easier ways to get through this virtual learning is to just type some of these questions into Google and try and figure out what fits for your answer. I'd like it if you guys put it into your own words, but if you want to use that and then just say from Google or something like that, just so you're not taking credit for someone else's words, I'm fine with you answering questions that way. Vegeta. Okay, so basically that is the answer to that question. Let me see. Use evidence from the video to explain your answer. So in the video, now you have to do the in the video part. So what did they do in the video? Because that's the answer to part one. So what did they do in the video? The freedom fighters used peaceful protest or pacifism to just waiting for this last answer, and then I'm here to talk about current events with you if you would like to. If you have any questions for me that I can try and answer about current events. No one wants to finish that? What did they do in the video? The Freedom Riders used peaceful protest or passive resistance by boycotting. Come on, guys. I know that if we don't answer on this live, I'm going to have a whole bunch of people asking me in Remind for the answer. So I would like it if someone would try to answer it in here because it makes it a lot easier. No, I didn't fix it yet. I'm going to fix it after we get done with this live. Try and do it in between this and my next Zoom meeting. The question is just finishing this sentence above. So the Freedom Riders used peaceful protest or passive resistance by doing what? Hey, Kobe. The Freedom Riders used peaceful protest or passive resistance by doing what? What did they do? I just want you to finish that sentence. Okay, so I did accidentally submit the 15th board assignment with without you having a way to submit anything. I pressed the wrong button, so I'll fix that with each section. I just fixed section 1. By not fighting back. Exactly. Thank you, Majida. So they didn't fight back. They were harassed, but yet they still did not fight back, like physically. So we want to say they didn't fight back physically. Instead, they were exactly nonviolent, making a stand by boycotting public transportation. Okay, so answered that question. I do have a link here real quick. Just in case you guys wanted to talk at all about the African American who was shot jogging because 2 white men thought that he was someone who had entered their house and robbed them earlier that day. Not that day, night before, 2 nights before. Anyways, it's been 2 months and neither of those white men that shot him had any consequences. And I just felt like since we're talking about civil rights movement, we're talking about inequalities. Yeah, I can see your comments, Ponce. We're talking about inequalities. I thought that we should at least bring this up, and if people wanted to talk about it, I'm here to talk about it. If you don't want to talk about it in the live chat, you can message me about it. Yeah, because if we were in school, I'd have a whole station on this, and we'd be talking about. I know who you talk. Yeah, that's why I put a link in there. If you want to save it, and we can table it for Monday and talk about it on Monday. You guys can come up with thoughts, questions. I can research it a little bit more, and we can just discuss what's going on, why we think these things are still happening today, what we can do about it, what you can bring attention to it, and just basically just here for you. D'Amico, you got to start waking up earlier because you're not getting credit for the lives when we're about to sign off. I can get up being this pregnant and uncomfortable. You can get up. You guys should be congratulating D'Amico, though, because last week he did get up and he was my actual gritty guru and got wings. So you should congratulate him if you haven't yet, because he was my winner last week. So make sure that you are finishing this week's assignments. And tomorrow I will announce, I might have 2 winners. Tomorrow I'll announce who will be getting meals delivered to them. And they'll have to let me know what they want delivered. So if you think that you are going to be the winner, then start thinking about what you want to eat. It's under $20. So make sure you are ordering things that are under $20. And that's with delivery fees and all that. So don't be like, oh, I'm going to stock up in my cart $20 worth, because then I have to still do taxes and delivery. So make sure that you are, getting something that is reasonable. So thank you for your participation today in the live. So assignments this week that should be done in order for you to win would be the 15th ward questions that I just went over, and the other assignment from the assignment that talks about Brown versus Board of Education. So Brown versus Board of Education and Rosa Parks, and then the civil rights. So Brown versus Board of Ed, 15th Ward questions basically needed to be done. And your mini CER. Your mini CER is going to be a whole different reward that I'll probably, best mini CER response will be something that goes towards next week. Okay, so just actively in Canvas trying to get your work done. What kind of computer am I using? I'm using the school computer. Why? Okay, so anyways, that's it for today. This is a long live, honestly. They sent you your computer, or they sent you what? My computer's slow? No, your computer's slow. Okay. Well, at least you have one though. So, I mean, at least you have something to do the work on, even though it's slow. I know, I wish you guys had all brand new computers and you could all be using the silver ones from school. It'd be nice if you all had your own personal computers. It's again something we just have to fight for in our district. Okay, so I'm going to end this stream. If you have any questions, as always, you can just text me and remind, and I'll get back to you. And tomorrow I will be announcing who won this week's Gritty Guru. So have a great rest of your day. Miss McKenna brought it to you. I'm sure you enjoyed that. They asked me to go and deliver stuff, and I was like, no, I'm good. I can't. Okay, bye guys.